Hello, and thank you for watching. This tale is called Viktors' Vengeful Nightmares. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. In the small town of Willowbrook, where ancient trees whispered secrets and mist clung to the air like ghostly fingers, a sinister presence lurked. Victor, a vampire as old as time itself, roamed the shadows, his eyes burning like coals in the darkness. Willowbrook was a tranquil place, but beneath its calm facade, a storm was brewing, fueled by vengeance and ancient grudges. Professor Nathaniel Blackwood, an elderly scholar with a heart as kind as his eyes were wise, had long been a resident of Willowbrook. He lived a peaceful life, dedicated to his books and the pursuit of knowledge. However, the tranquility of his existence was shattered by the arrival of a group of college boys, young and arrogant, who took pleasure in tormenting the gentle professor. These boys, led by a charismatic but cruel young man named Mark, found amusement in mocking Professor Blackwood. They would taunt him in the streets, vandalize his property, and spread malicious rumors about him. The professor, a man of immense patience and tolerance, bore their cruelties with a heavy heart, hoping that someday they would see the error of their ways. Unbeknownst to the bullies, Professor Blackwood harbored a secret. Many years ago, he had crossed paths with Victor, a vampire who had once been a nobleman in a distant land. In a twist of fate, they had become allies. Victor had recognized the goodness in the professor's soul, a quality he had not encountered in centuries. The bond between them was forged in blood and sealed in loyalty. As the boys' torment escalated, so did Victor's fury. He had watched from the shadows as the professor endured humiliation after humiliation. The vampire, once a creature of the night who had seen civilizations rise and fall, was now consumed by a singular purpose: to protect his friend and exact revenge on those who had wronged him. One fateful night, under the cloak of darkness, Victor decided it was time to teach the arrogant boys a lesson they would never forget. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow over Willowbrook. Victor's silhouette moved gracefully through the night, his cape billowing behind him like the wings of a giant bat. The first victim was Mark, the ringleader of the bullies. Victor's icy grip closed around Mark's throat, paralyzing him with fear. The young man's eyes widened in terror as he realized the gravity of his situation. In the blink of an eye, Victor's fangs sank into Mark's neck, and the life force drained out of him. The following morning, the townsfolk discovered Mark's lifeless body, his face contorted in a mask of horror. The once quiet town was now ablaze with rumors and fear. Whispers of a vengeful spirit spread like wildfire, and the remaining bullies, now trembling in their boots, knew they were being hunted. Victor continued his relentless pursuit, his vengeance swift and merciless. Each night, another bully fell victim to his wrath, their bodies found in increasingly gruesome states. The town of Willowbrook descended into a state of panic and paranoia. The streets, once filled with the laughter of children and the chatter of neighbors, were now empty after dark. The townsfolk locked themselves indoors, praying that they would be spared from the wrath of the avenging vampire. Meanwhile, Professor Blackwood grappled with conflicting emotions. He was grateful for Victor's protection, but burdened by the weight of the bloodshed. And the kind-hearted scholar, who had dedicated his life to the pursuit of knowledge, now found himself entangled in a web of darkness and death. He mourned the lost souls, even though they had been his tormentors. As the bodies piled up and the town descended further into chaos, a group of brave individuals emerged from the shadows. Among them was Elena, a determined young woman whose brother had been one of the bullies. Driven by grief and a thirst for justice, she sought out the truth behind the mysterious deaths. Elena's investigation led her to Professor Blackwood, who, despite his initial reluctance, shared the story of his alliance with Victor. Together, they hatched a plan to confront the vampire and put an end to the cycle of violence. The professor, torn between loyalty to his friend and the desire to save his town, agreed to help Elena in her quest. As the days turned into weeks, Elena and Professor Blackwood grew closer, their shared mission forging a bond between them. The professor, once a solitary scholar, found solace in Elena's determination and bravery. She, in turn, admired his wisdom and kindness, seeing beyond the darkness that surrounded him. Their quest reached its climax on a moonlit night, when Viktor emerged from those shadows once more, his eyes ablaze with fury. He confronted Elena and the professor, his voice a low, menacing growl. The air crackled with tension as the three figures faced off in the deserted town square. In that moment, Elena stepped forward, her eyes filled with determination. "Viktor," she said, her voice steady, "this cycle of violence must end. We understand your pain, but more bloodshed will not bring you peace. Release your grip on this town and find the redemption you seek." For the first time in centuries, Viktor hesitated. His eyes flickered between Elena and the professor, torn between his thirst for vengeance and the glimmer of hope that her words offered. The weight of his centuries-long anger bore down on him, but deep within, a flicker of humanity remained. With a guttural roar, Viktor unleashed his power, sending shockwaves through the air. Elena and the professor stood their ground, their resolve unyielding. In that moment, a blinding light enveloped Viktor, casting his shadow against the buildings like a specter of the past. The light grew brighter, consuming the vampire in its brilliance. Viktor's form contorted and twisted, his screams echoing through the night. And then, in a burst of ethereal energy, he was gone, leaving behind only a lingering sense of sorrow and redemption. The town of Willowbrook slowly emerged from the darkness that had gripped it. The sun rose on a new day, its warm rays dispelling the lingering shadows. The people, once paralyzed by fear, found courage in the face of adversity. They rebuilt their lives, their resilience a testament to the human spirit. Elena and Professor Blackwood became unlikely heroes, their bravery celebrated by the town. Despite the scars left by the ordeal, they found solace in each other's presence. The professor, freed from the burden of darkness, embraced life once more, his heart lightened by the knowledge that redemption was possible, even for the most ancient and vengeful of beings. And so, the tale of Viktor, the avenging vampire, came to an end, leaving behind a legacy of redemption and the enduring belief that even in the face of unimaginable darkness, there was always a glimmer of light waiting to guide the way.